you were going to say that. Hi, huge movie fanatic Nate, coming at you with yet again another Godzilla review in a series of my ever ongoing quest to rewatch and review every single Godzilla movie ever made. And I made it through. This is what I'd consider to be probably one of the worst. I don't know. This might take the cake for the worst Godzilla movie in my opinion, because it's most of the actual Godzilla monster scenes in the movie are scenes from previous Godzilla movies like Son of Godzilla, Godzilla vs. the Sea Monster, and I don't know if that's it or if there's more footage from but it's those movies for sure. Those might be the main ones, but there's probably other stuff. No, I'm not 100% sure if there's any original monster footage in this movie. Now, the monster that he fights with the guy with all the goosebumps, kaiju bumps, the green guy, it's just the stupidest monster design ever. It's just like, holy cow, he's like cold because he's just got all these goosebumps, but whatever. That one I've never seen in a movie, Godzilla movie up to this point, so I'm assuming. Oh, I didn't say the title, which is, I'm reviewing the Japanese version of this movie, which is All Monsters Attack, I believe, which is known in America as Godzilla's Revenge. And I think it's called All Monsters Attack. If that's not the title, I'll put the right one in red letters on the screen, but I think that's it. So, I'm reviewing I have the Classic Media DVD, which has both the Japanese and American versions, which I think are basically the same, but I watched the Japanese one just because if I have that available, I always want to watch that just to have the most purest form of this ridiculous schlock humanly possible, because that's really important. You want to know what the original Japanese intention for the schlock was versus any added American schlock. Yeah, so All Monsters Attack. What I was saying before I go back to the beginning is I can only assume that the goosebump green goofy ass tailless cat face monster, all that stuff is exclusively shot for the movie, but I could be wrong. But like I say, up until this point I haven't seen this monster appeared in a Godzilla movie up to this point or ever again, so that might be footage that's actually shot for this movie. The majority of the monster fights are monster fights, like I say, we've already seen in previous movies. That is ridiculous. This movie's a 79-minute piece of kind of just recycled schlock junk. And I think pretty much this movie was made, I don't know what, I mean, it looks like it was made for kids, because the star of the movie's a kid. And I will say that maybe it has this cool idea where it's like, how much it shows how much possibly these kaiju movies in Japan were part of kids' lives, unless this was just all bullshit made for the movie. But it's probably true. I mean, I guess they were part of my life when I was a kid too. So, it's what I will give the movie props for is basically all the monster fighting that happens in this movie is basically just in the kid's mind. So I guess, having said that right now, it just occurred to me that, well, I guess in a way it's kind of an excuse for reusing scenes from previous movies, because this is really weird if you really think about it, because, oh no, not really, because it's not necessarily about Godzilla movies as much as Godzilla the character, and so many people in Godzilla movies know of the character, so never mind. What I was going to say is the movie actually references Godzilla the movies, but it just Godzilla the character. But, so every single monster fight that happens in this movie is happening in the kid's dreams. So, oh, what I was going to say before is, so maybe it's an excuse why the scenes are from the other movies, because maybe the kid's seen these movies, like, and he's just reliving the scenes in his mind or something. But you could think up all kinds of bullshit excuses like that for the reason why, fights from previous Godzilla movies are in this movie almost exclusively. Of course, you'd just be making excuses for lazy ass, cheap bullshit. So basically this movie is about a kid who's coming home from school. It takes place like in a 24-hour period. He's coming home from school and he gets picked on by bullies, and they're like, ha ha ha, wimp, and all this kind of stuff. and he always retreats, which I personally believe is the right thing to do versus standing up and potentially getting teeth knocked out. I'm not a, to me it's like the way to disarm assholes is just to pretend they don't exist. Like, you're in Dubrovnik, as Mia Farrow would say from Rosemary's Baby. But personally, I think the way he handles the bullies throughout the movie in the beginning is the correct way to do it, and because it doesn't matter if they say ha ha ha, it doesn't matter if they're taunting you. They're assholes. So that's just a personal side note. So the movie is basically about all this movie is about this kid and these yen, I can't remember what, $50,000 worth of yen. These people, these bad guys steal this money. You don't see it, but you hear it on the news and stuff that they've stolen the money, and it's around the place. They're around the area, and oh boy. So the movie is just follows this kid 24 hours of his life. He's coming home from school. Both his parents work at night. His dad has to stay late. His mom ended up having to stay late, so he ate dinner with this neighbor, and I can't remember why the hell the kid went back out at night, like why he ended up out at night or whatever. But anyway, so the movie is just a series of him going to bed and dreaming about him meeting Godzilla's son. And Godzilla's son talks in this movie and is strangely the kid's size. But then if he goes to Godzilla or fight a monster, Godzilla's son will conveniently grow up like Ultraman to the size he needs to be to fight. And then he'll grow back down to talk to the kid. So this kid was really, bullied and has no friends, even though he walks to school, which is, I can only imagine this is a girl because I think she's got like a skirt thing on. It's really hard to tell, but they both look like girls, kind of. So anyway, this kid's basically got few or few friends. He's bullied and all this and that. So he basically, in his dreams, befriends the son of Godzilla, which has a name which I can never remember. It's really a dumb name anyway, so I'm lucky I can't remember it. Befriends Godzilla's son in his dreams, and Godzilla's and the son's in the same position where Godzilla doesn't help him out and makes him... Oh my god. Just talking about this movie makes me sick. So, maybe, what's ironic is it's not completely incompetent in its whole story. I guess we'll give it a 1 star for the fact that it is kind of an interesting message that, if you can find strength in at the end of the day, the kid defeats the bullies at the end. And I guess the message is, maybe Godzilla monsters can help you find strength within yourself to do what you need to do. Again, I don't really agree with physically fighting the bully, because that could just lead to getting yourself hurt, or I guess hurting the bully is not a bad thing, but it could potentially be a suit. I just personally am just not a fighter. I'm more of a lover, if you know what I mean. So that's my personal take. But the message, the moral of the story is, I guess, maybe these monster movies do help kids to, pretend or to find their inner strength or whatever, to live on their own and to stand up for themselves and be more aggressive in life. Because at the beginning of the movie, his train driver dad is like, oh, I'm concerned about my son, he's too shy. And it's like, fuck you. If he's shy, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he'll never get a good job like driving a train if he's too shy. So maybe we'll leave it at that for what I believe is in Japan, All Monsters Attack, aka Godzilla's Revenge in America. I'm just glad it's behind me. I had first, weeks and weeks ago, like I had said in my previous Godzilla review, to Destroy All Monsters, I was thinking, I ain't gonna rewatch this, but I'm like, you have to, because you're rewatching and reviewing all these movies, and plus the fact that I looked at the box and it was, excuse me, 79 minutes long. I'm like, oh, I can do that. So I did it, and obviously I'm reviewing it, or I reviewed it, past tense, and I guess we've reached the end of the review. So I would not recommend this movie along with, I'd say probably, up until this point, possibly just all around in general, this is probably my least favorite and what I would regard as the worst Godzilla movie, because it's all recycled scenes from Godzilla movies, except for what I would imagine is new stuff with the, like I say, goosebump blue, green, whatever the hell color it is, tail this stupid monster with the lion face, cat face, tiger face. So, interesting idea for Godzilla kaiju kiddie movie, you know, in relation to dealing with bullies and stuff, but give me a break. I'm an adult, you know. I don't want to see that kind of stuff. I want to see other scenes with rubber men in monster suits destroying cardboard cities because I'm an adult. Thank you very much for watching.